Welcome to Women with Drive, a podcast from the Deakin Melbourne Boomers, talking all things women's hoops, hosted by Boomers' own Lou Brown. Women with Drive.
And we are back. Hi, I'm Lou Brown, and welcome to another episode of Women with Drive, a podcast produced by the Deakin Melbourne Boomers. Thank you to everyone who's staying up to date and tuning in for these episodes. We continue to receive great feedback, especially on our guests. And today we have another great one. She's someone who's been around the Deakin Melbourne Boomers for 3 years now. The true epitome of hard work pays off. So thank you for joining me, Rachel Brewster. Woo!
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So another Nuttawatting Spectre teammate of mine. I didn't mention it last week, but Penina is too. We're all teammates for Nuttawatting and Melbourne Boomers. Which is good, I hope. But I asked the same question to Penina last week. You have a couple of nicknames through both your first and last name. Could you give me a quick rundown on the nicknames you do like being called?
Yeah, there's not really any that I don't like being called, but funnily enough, I don't really respond to Rachel. It's just not something I haven't been called, especially in Australia. I haven't been called Rachel in a basketball setting since I was in high school. So it started when we were at Rowville. There was already a Rachel there, so I got called by my last name. So Brewster or Brew is what I usually get called, and I respond to best. I don't know, it's just kind of stuck. So I guess all of my teammates here in Australia just know me as Brew or Brewster, so that's usually just what I go by. And yeah, I like them, it's fine. Or just Rach otherwise. Yeah.
No, it's funny you say that, because I'm kind of similar. Obviously my name's Lou, but my full name is Louise, and I don't I hear Louise and I'm like, who's that?
Whenever someone says Rachel or Rach, like if Guy or because we have Rach in Nuttawatting as well, like everyone, I just assume that they're talking to the other Rachel. Like I don't think that they're talking to me.
Right. So our Nuttawatting team, I think we've had this conversation. Our Nuttawatting team, we had 2 Lou's, 2 Rachels, 2 Izzies.
2 Izzies.
Am I missing anyone?
No, I think that was it. Yeah, we had Little Iz, Big Iz, Rach, and Rach.
Rach A, Rach B.
Rach A, Rach B, and Big Lou and Little Lou.
No, we were all trying to find different ways to call each other.
Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Could not figure it out.
But my personal favourite, I had to mention this though, my personal favourite is Cold Brew.
Yeah, you came up with that one, and I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised that no one's come up with that one before, but yeah, I'm very impressed. I really like that one, and that's all credit to you.
Yeah, well, I'll take it. That's my favourite.
Yeah, you can take that one. Only you get to call me that.
I learnt that it was, I had to look this up, but do you know what a homonym is? I hope I said that right.
No.
Neither did I, but it's a one word with 2 or more meanings. So I decided the cold brew has more than one meaning, so people can tap on there.
Yeah. It's also one of my favourite drinks as well, so it's good. Yeah.
But moving on, so before we dive in, I obviously know you're okay now, but could you tell everyone about your little hospital scare last week and the history behind it?
Yeah. I am fine now, and I was fine. It wasn't as serious as I thought it was, but long story short, when I was 6, I had a kidney infection, and it was my left kidney, and it was making my right kidney sick, so they took it out when I was really little. So I only have one kidney, and last week I found out that it was infected. So I just went straight to the hospital. I was like, I can't risk this. So I went straight to the hospital. I spent a couple of days in hospital getting treatment for that. But yeah, it was quite scary. I was going into the emergency room, and I was just I went up to the nurses and I was like, I think I have a kidney infection, but I only have one kidney, so I'm kind of freaking out right now. But yeah, we're all good now.
Yeah, well, it's good, obviously good to hear, glad you're okay, but I think it's just a really interesting fact about you as well.
Yeah, it is. It's, I mean, everyone knows like you only need one kidney.
Yeah.
You can live with one kidney, but it's kind of random. You don't meet a lot of people that actually do only have one kidney. So that's kind of just been like my fun fact go to my whole
It's
life.
like two truths, one lie, all those little get to know you icebreakers.
Yeah, exactly.
But now just so a little bit of background on you. Mother Suzanne and father Craig with one older sister. You spent your juniors at Melbourne Tigers and Nunawading Spectres. You went to high school at Roval Sports Academy, whoop, same as me.
Yeah.
Then onto Division One college on a full scholarship at Utah State University, where you've spent 4 years and piled up quite some impressive accolades, must I add. You were tied second for the most games played at 126, which gives props to your success there, I think, in postseason. Fourth in all-time scoring with 1,303 career points, quite impressive. Eighth in rebounding, and third in field goals made, where you then also majored in exercise science. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then actually, a fun fact, just for people listening, the coach who recruited me to Washington State University also then became your assistant coach at Utah State.
Yes.
So shout out to
Shout out.
Bill. Yep.
Shout out Coach Ash.
Love
What a legend.
Exactly. A legend of a woman. She was
Mhm.
awesome. Loved her. But what would
I
have
love
been
it.
a highlight of your college career?
There's a lot. Probably in terms of basketball, my highlight was probably making the all freshman team as a freshman. A lot of people, like, obviously don't go into college and go into their freshman year and play a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of common you start playing all your minutes in like your junior and senior year. So I was lucky enough to go into a program where I could make an impact straight away. So being in the all-conference freshman team was probably one of my highlights in terms of basketball. And then otherwise it was just getting to travel. We went on a Mexico trip. We spent a week and a half in Mexico.
Yeah.
That was incredible. It was
Trip.
amazing. It was so awesome.
Yeah.
And we had a tournament in Hawaii as well. So those were two big highlights for me as well.
No, I think that was like some of the best parts of my college as well, was just the traveling you got to do kind of within the States and outside of it in those smaller countries like Mexico, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, places like that.
Yeah. It's such a good experience.
Did you drink the Mexican water?
Oh,
I heard that's bad.
probably
Only from
no. We were very lucky. Like the places that we stayed were quite nice. So it was probably just like bottled water that had been poured into a jug. Yeah.
No, it's just, you watch the movies where they're in Mexico or something and then they drink the water and then they spend the next 5 days in the bathroom.
Yeah. No, that wasn't me. Luckily.
So then, okay, so what's one thing that you learn about yourself in college, or maybe like a life lesson you took from it?
Oh, there's a lot. There is a lot.
Yeah.
College is tough. Probably, I think there was just I learned kind of how resilient I am and how if you want something bad enough, you can really get through anything in order to achieve that goal. Like I'd wanted to go to college since I was 13 years old. I'd made that decision when I was 13 that I knew I was going to go. And it was, I got halfway in and it wasn't like, sometimes it just doesn't turn out to be the experience you wanted it to be, or like basketball's not going well and so you're really, really down, but you just kind of have to remember why you went there in the first place and what you want to get out of it. And you can really get through it. So that was one thing that, like, I was really proud that I made it through all 4 years, because sometimes college isn't kind of what you always think it's going to be, and it's really, really tough. So being able to make it through that was something that I was really proud of, and I kind of learnt how like strong and kind of mentally tough that I can be. And probably another really good life lesson that I learned was how important it is to have interests and have friend groups and things outside of basketball, because it's really easy for us, in college, you go to school, you train for 4 hours a day, and that's it. So it's really easy to get kind of caught up in like basketball is life.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like that with professional sport as well. You put so much time and so much of your effort into basketball. I think it's just really important to find an outlet and have something to do outside of it. Otherwise, it's really easy to kind of burn out. And, if you're not playing well, or if things in basketball aren't going well and that's your whole life, then it's really easy to get down and get, like if basketball's your whole life and basketball's not going well, then like your life's not going well. So I think it's really important to have things outside of basketball that you can kind of get away and recharge.
I absolutely love that. It gave me chills, because it resonated with me quite a lot, what you just said.
Yeah.
I think that's very important for basketballs to know, because as you know, as you said, it can become quite consuming. So to be able to find a balance and not let that define you, and as you said, if basketball's not going well, it feels like your whole life is not going well. So to be able to that up.
And it is really hard to find that balance. It takes a lot of time, and it's hard as well to not feel like guilty for doing something on it. Like we get told, you've got to put in 100% all the time, so you kind of feel like it's an obligation to make basketball your entire life and everything that you do, and that's obviously important, like when you're at training and you do things in your life that are going to make you better, and you give 100% when you're at training and stuff. But it is really important to find things outside to have a break.
Yeah, I love that. What did you find outside of basketball when you're in Utah to kind of give you that break?
I know people are like, Utah, what do you do? I got outside. Yeah, I got outside a lot. I made a lot of friends. By the end of my college career, most of my best friends and the people that I still talk to this day, they're all non-athletes.
That's quite rare to
because the athlete community is quite close. You just kind of make friends in that area. But I found it really, really helpful to have people outside of that. And so we would go on hikes. There's, just a lot of stuff outdoors. We'd go on hikes. I went skiing when we were done with our season. We would go like boating. I would do like paddleboarding on the lakes. We would go floating down the river, like all that kind of stuff, and just hanging out. Yeah, it was really cool. I loved Utah. It's amazing.
No, for anyone who doesn't know,
but
Utah is beautiful. Utah is very beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I'm dying to get back there. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. There's just so much to do, and if you're a really outdoorsy person, it's the perfect place. There's a bit of everything there. But yeah, just having people that you can hang out with that have nothing to do with basketball, and they just don't really know what's going on in your life. It's just easy to hang out with them and have a different perspective.
No, that's really cool to hear. I'm glad that you had talked about all of that. But you graduated from Utah State in exercise science, and I know you're still studying a bit now. So could you please explain that to me and kind of why that is, and then what your ultimate career goal is out of that?
So I graduated. I've got a major in exercise science, and I did a minor in psychology as well. So I'm still trying to figure out because I do have quite an interest in that. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to kind of go down that route someday as well. But I guess it kind of all started back when I was, sorry, Durham's actually calling me right now.
I can ask you about coordinating.
So when I was 15, I did my knee, And that's when I started working with Durham. And that kind of just set the trajectory of my career from that point and what I wanted to study from then.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with lifting and the whole like high performance athletic development kind of thing, because it did so much for me as a junior, like mentally and physically. It did so much. It's like I could probably do a whole podcast on it. But before I went to college, Durham, he pretty much said to me, he's like, I want you to work for me one day. And I was like, done. Like, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. So when I went off to college, I just studied the exercise science degree, and it was good because I didn't have to worry about picking majors or anything like that. I just knew what I wanted to do. Came back from college, and I was about to do in 2019, I was coming in to do his internship that he does at Core Advantage, but then COVID hit, so I couldn't do the internship. Got into it again once everything opened up in February this year. So I finished the internship now. So that was a 20-week program that I did with him. So I did a bit of coaching, went through online content, all that kind of stuff, and we finished the internship. So hopefully I will start working there a little bit once it's opened up again. But yeah, the whole strength and conditioning thing, I fell in love with it. It's something that I really, really enjoy, and I want to help younger athletes, and I want them to kind of have the experience that I did with it growing up. So yeah, it's just something I've always wanted to do, and it's super interesting, and you know, it's all kind of starting to happen now, COVID permitting.
It's finally starting to fall into place for you.
Yeah. It's just something that I think it's really important, and it's kind of becoming, you know, people are becoming more aware of it now. Like, we have so many young athletes that are coming through and they want help with us, you know, just learning how to control their bodies properly and learning how to move properly and getting strong and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's really, really helped me growing up. Like, I haven't had, touch wood, I haven't had a soft tissue injury since I did my knee when I was 15. So, and I think that's just, I might be lucky, Absolutely. But I think it has a lot to do with the importance that I've placed on strength and conditioning outside of basketball. So it's just something that I'm super passionate about.
No, that's super cool. I can definitely tell that is. Just for people at Core Advantage is, as you were saying, it's I think one of the most respected, and it's probably one of the biggest and athletic performance providers, which I took off their website just so I knew how to correctly.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I didn't really explain what Core Advantage is.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. So Durham's the director. He's the founder and director of Core Advantage, and he started off in a little gym when I first started working there. But now he's got a warehouse, and so Core Advantage is an athletic development program. He's a company, but he runs an athletic development program. And if you're a junior in any of like the Victorian state programs or the SDP state development programs, anything like that, you would have heard about Durham. He works pretty much all through Basketball Victoria. He's a very well-known man. He's been a trainer for the WNBL for 20 years now. So it's super exciting, and I've been trained by him for almost 10 years now, so it's really cool that I'm getting to work alongside him. Yeah, absolutely.
So just switching gears now, you've had the opportunity to join the Boomers as a development player. How did that come about?
I guess I just came back from college. I only played half a season in 2019 because I came back in May of 2019. Played some decent minutes, and I guess because Flinny is the assistant for us at Boomers, and he's our head coach at Nunawading, obviously, so he knew how much I wanted to play WNBL and how that was a massive goal for me. And a guy would come out to a couple of our games as well to watch and all that kind of stuff. So I guess Guy kind of saw the potential in me, and having Flinny as the assistant helped a little bit to get that development player spot. And yeah, I'm just super grateful because it was an amazing club that I could have been set up with, and I'm super happy I got that position.
Because you mentioned that playing in the WNBL was a huge goal for me. So this season you get the call from Guy saying the Boomers want to offer you a full-time WNBL contract and position on the senior roster. I mean, after all that work, college for 2 years, and then 2 years as a DP, how did that feel and what did it mean to you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was such an amazing feeling. Just like you said, being a DP for a couple of years, you know, I got to go up into the hub as well. That was an awesome experience. Yeah. And so it was just kind of a relief that, you know, all the work that I'd put in it was worth it, and I've kind of reached that goal that I've set for myself and that I've wanted since I was, you know, a little girl. It was a really amazing feeling, and I'm just super grateful to the club and obviously to Guy, because he's been so patient with me and he's really helped me with my development. And yeah, I don't think there could have been a better club that I could have been a development player for and reaching that goal for, because just the staff and the coaches and all the players, it's such an elite club. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, especially because you've got to stay home as well, you know, been away for so many years in college, and then you kind of be able to come home and actually be able to live that out in Melbourne still.
Yeah, it's been awesome being able to stay with my family and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I had a little quote from Guy Malloy that he said about you, which is, I've always admired Rachel's desire to get better. She's a good student and a hard worker. She has the talent to make her mark in the WNBL, and we hope she flourishes this season. Hearing that, I just think is such a huge testament to yourself as a person and your character. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it makes me feel really good. It's like, I'm just so thankful to Guy. He's been so, like I said before, he's been so patient with me. And he's really let me kind of find my feet these last couple of seasons. Like I obviously still have a really long way to go. But I'm just really like seeing his belief in me and his reassurance that, like, you know, I'm here for a reason, and you know, I have something to offer and I can make a mark in the league is it's really, really important to me. And it's just his support is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's great to have that in a head coach. Anyway,
absolutely.
Just throughout my very small coaching career, in quotation marks, if you can even call it that, but I've come across some really young players who kind of like think they know it all already, and it's tough. You know, I know, and you know, like, we don't even know it all, and we are professional basketball players. So I just love hearing, and for any kids that are listening, about a professional basketball player who's a good student of the game from a head coach. Just to hear that, I think there's just great for people to know there is always more to learn, and to adapt that in the way that you approach basketball and training every day. You're only going to get better. So I just think that's awesome, and you're such a great role model and example for young girls out there, Brewy.
Thank you so much.
Yes, but to finish up, do you have any goals for this season?
I set very high expectations for myself, but I think my goals for this season are just I just want to be consistent. I want to be a good teammate. Obviously, you know, it's my first season as a rostered player. So I just want to, like you said, I want to keep learning from my teammates. You know, we have new teammates coming in. We have very, very skilled, accomplished players coming in from the WNBA. So I want to learn as much as I can from them. And obviously we've got our vets coming back in and that have just been off an Olympic campaign. So there's lots to learn. There's lots of room to grow and get better, which is what my goal is for this season. And yeah, I just want to be a really good teammate and do what I can on the court for the team.
Yeah, I love that. You, as a teammate, you already are a very great teammate. I've loved being able to play with you this season. I feel like our paths have kind of crossed here and there. Similar people we've played with, or
absolutely, yeah.
And now we've actually finally got to.
I know, like we didn't play for long at Rowville. Yeah, we started off. Yeah. We had a little stint at Rowville and then went away, and now we're back. We're actually playing together. It's really exciting.
Women with Drive.
But before you leave, we have a couple of questions from our members. This one is from Zoe, who is 15 years old and plays for the Coburg Giants. She wants to know, Rachel, which players did you follow when you were growing up as a basketballer, and why?
My favourite player growing up was Penny Taylor, just because I loved her style of play. She was kind of that big guard, could do pretty much everything. She can shoot, she can finish any way she wants around the ring. So she was definitely my favourite player growing up. Yeah.
Good. And then the second one is from Jack, who is 12 years old in Dandenong, who plays for the Dandenong Rachels. The Dandenong Rachels, did you like that? Dandenong Rangers. Rachel, I met you at one of the Boomers Academy in the last school holidays. I wanted to ask what skills you think I should be practicing outside of team trainings each week.
That's a good question. I think outside of team trainings, just the fundamentals and kind of the detail kind of things you should be working on. So footwork stuff, like pivots, footwork's finishing around the ring, finishing around the ring with both hands. Because a lot of kids these days don't do it. The amount of kids that I have seen in my junior programs that like can't do a reverse layup on both hands. Do the fundamentals. So footwork stuff, all of the ball handling stuff. The way the game's going now, it doesn't matter what size you are, you need to be able to have a good handle on the ball. So I would say those two things are probably the most important.
I think that's great. I think, as I said, that's some advice that I need to take in my stride as well.
Oh, me too. I know I need to listen to myself.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Rachel Brewster. It has been such a pleasure.
No worries at all. Thank you. This has been great.
I will look forward to next week's episode. Make sure to stay up to date with the most recent episodes of Women with Drive.
Thanks for listening to Women with Drive, hosted by Lou Brown. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and if you could, leave us a review.